What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tino here, guys, and it is time for our regularly scheduled programming here today, as it's time for SouthSide Boys, episode number 24. As today, guys, it's just going to be your boy Tino, because we have, and your boy Tino, this is actually past Tino right now talking to you, and this Tino will be driving to the fantasy football draft that I was telling you guys about. I got to go and drive at 5 o'clock. So we recorded the episode this morning. So I want to thank you guys all coming and hanging out with past Tino. You hung out with present Tino earlier today as we did an all-in preview or all-out preview show. I make sure I say that right. All-out preview show. I got to make sure I do that one right. Say all out, not all in. So I want to thank you guys all for coming and hanging out here on this Thursday afternoon. But we're here to talk about everything White Sox. Deech and Justin, I gave them the week off. They'll be back next week for episode number 25. Can't believe we've already done 24 of these. 25 next week. They'll be back next week. So today, guys, we're going to recap the last two series. We're going to preview the next two series. We're going to talk about all the shenanigans going on in the White Sox baseball. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how I feel about everything because, a lot of the time I let Deech and Justin talk, and sometimes, I want to give them the time to shine and everything like that. So there are some things that sometimes I don't fully say or everything like that. So today I'm just going to let it all out. I'm just going to vent, and it's going to be a good time. So, guys, let's get it started. And last week we had Elijah, my man Elijah, came and hung out. I appreciate Elijah coming and hanging out with your boy Tino and Deech. And he got his bold prediction right. He said that Lennon Sosa was going to hit 2 bombs. And he hit 2 bombs in 3 days. He was calling stuff left and right. So, Elijah, if you got anything else, bro, let me know what else you got. So, we saw, and let's talk about the Athletics series, because last week when we were on the episode, me, Elijah, and Deech, we were saying probably a split, maybe 3 out of 4, and everything else like that. But as you guys know, it is the Chicago White Sox. So it didn't go exactly that way. They did end up splitting, but we got to talk about Thursday and Friday, because the first game they lost 8-5, and then Friday's game they lost 12-4. And can you please explain to me why we are losing to one of the worst teams in the American League that bad? They are literally 39-94 as I record this episode, looking at the standings right now. If the Sox win out, though, because they beat the Orioles and they beat down the Orioles yesterday, we'll talk about that game in a little bit. White Sox would have their record what they did last year. But I don't see them winning 30-plus games or 20-something games, 28 games. I don't see it happening, guys. But it's possible. Never say never. But they did end up losing the first 2 to the Athletics. And then they end up coming back Saturday and Sunday. They win 6-2 on Dylan Cease's bobblehead day. And then we'll talk about something else that happened at that game. And then they come out on Sunday and they win 6-1. So let's talk about the big elephant in the room. And I'm sure a lot of you guys, I will be in the chat. So you guys better be in the chat, because I will be watching. I'll be talking to you guys in the chat. So I'll know if you're not there, and I'm going to yell at you when we come back live on Friday morning for the WWE Payback preview show, guys, tomorrow and Friday at, I think we're going to do like 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So get your lunch, 12:30. Let's do 12:30. So, guys, make sure you're in this show and have a good time. But let's talk about what happened on Saturday night. And apparently, this happened in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So if you guys did not hear, apparently somebody came out and they ended up bringing something in they weren't supposed to. And something ended up happening, and something ended up going off. And there was a couple things that were happening. I don't know if we could say all, all the words and everything. So I want to keep it as, hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. But there was some of the blood that we see Jon Moxley have every week in AEW. There was blood everywhere and everything like that. And apparently it happened to the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the game was not stopped. And apparently the game went on. The Sox ended up going on and winning. And after, because it ended up happening, I forgot what we were live for. I low-key forgot. Maybe it was Friday. I think it might have been Friday that it happened. I think it was Friday. I know I said Saturday, but I think it was Friday that it happened, because it was a night game. Yeah, because it was after SmackDown. So everything I just said was Friday. It happened on Friday, not Saturday. Deech, don't yell at me if you're in the chat. My bad, bro. My bad. But hey, I caught myself. So Friday after SmackDown, after I get off watching SmackDown with all of you great ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we go and we're watching and everything, and the news is on, and I'm like, what is going on? And I go on Twitter, and somebody said something bad happened. And I'm like, well, that's not good, because if that's the case, then, like I said, why didn't they stop the game? And apparently somebody came on the news and said that they brought them into a room and they didn't get into and they didn't start talking to them everything until like the bottom of the ninth. So I have no idea where they went or what exactly happened. The guy kind of talked and everything like that. But yeah, so I don't know exactly where they went and everything like that. But while the news lady was talking, I don't know if people didn't realize what was going on and what was happening, because this was also the Vanilla Ice concert. Vanilla Ice, you guys, you wanted to go see, Vanilla. We want to go see him go down and have himself a good time. But that did not end up happening, and they ended up saying the game was canceled because of technical difficulties. So they ended up going and they ended up changing it, and they ended up saying, and they ended up not coming out with it. So the people at the game were confused, and they were like, this team's shitty, the organization is shitty. And as bad as the White Sox season has been, every little thing they can find on the White Sox, they'll make sure to make it a bigger deal. And obviously this is a big deal. But at the time, when they should have said something better than just technical difficulties. And obviously, I understand that you don't want to freak people out. You don't want anything happen to anybody, and you don't want anybody to start rioting and running out of the field and people running into each other and people getting hurt and people getting toppled and kids and children and babies. And, we don't want any of that. So I get that, and I understand them saying that. But you should have at least said something to where they kind of understood then, because people already are upset with this team, as bad as it's been as with the season, that this was something people were looking forward to. And I heard from our guy Deech, because Deech was actually at the game, and he called me after. He goes, they canceled the concert. And I'm like, well, bro, did you see what happened? He's like, no, what happened? I'm like, bro, this happened. He's like, oh, dang. Literally, that's how the conversation went. So, but that's, it's one of those things that I think they should have told people something, because people were very upset. And then obviously Vanilla came out. He had a little, he made a little message about how great the city of Chicago was and how they were protecting him and how he was ready to perform. And he was sad it couldn't happen and everything like that. But again, you always got to look out for the safety of people and everything else like that. So obviously, I saw somebody on ESPN try to like do a close up of where it happened and everything. I couldn't see the video too much. And Deech, if you are in the chat and if there's anything I'm saying that you want to add, or if Justin, you're in here, if anybody's in here that, that comes on the show, you want to add anything, I'm doing these by myself. I low key think this is the first baseball episode I've done by myself since last playoffs when we covered the World Series. So yeah. But, so if anybody's got anything else to say, I did correct myself, though. It was Friday night's game, not Saturday. I don't know why I thought it was Saturday, but it was Friday night's game. And then, yeah. So that's what happened on Friday night's game. And, people were upset and everything like that. They did get a refund for the passes that they spent and everything like that. And obviously, them paying to watch the White Sox get their butts kicked wasn't exactly what they wanted to do. But, yeah. So that is what happened on Friday and everything like that. And we'll talk about it a little bit in a minute, but I want to talk about the Baltimore Orioles series real quick before we get into anything else. So let's talk about the Baltimore Orioles series, because there's really not too much to say with the Athletics and the White Sox. It is what it is. It's the toilet bowl, and the White Sox are just still, like I said, they need to win out to finish 81-81, and that's not going to happen. So they went and they split with the Athletics, thank goodness, because that's what we did not need to do, is get swept by the Athletics. So they went on, and we went and go on and played Baltimore. And we all knew how this series was going to go. Me, Deech, and Elijah talked about it last week. We knew that there was not going to be a fun series to watch, and we knew that they would go out and get their butts kicked. And that is exactly what happened the first two games. The Orioles went out and won 9-0. And then on Tuesday night, they won 9-3. They outscored us 18-3 in the first two games of the series. And it is just phenomenal to see and watch this team play and watch these guys go out there and do their thing. And it's incredible to watch Mullins and Adley Rutschman. All these guys that they have are absolutely incredible to watch. And it's absolutely insane to watch these guys go out there and play baseball. And the defense that they have and the balls that they catch that other players would miss, or other guys would just drop or anything, is crazy to see. So I love watching this Orioles team. The Orioles have been a very bad baseball team for a very long time. If you watch baseball, you know they've been a really bad baseball team. So it's really cool and it's really nice to see. As much as I would love it to be the White Sox, it just isn't in what it was and everything like that. So yeah, but Orioles beat the crap out of the White Sox the first two games. And then on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, whenever it was, we had a bunch of waiver claims that went down, or waiver people that were placed on waivers, and the White Sox went out and they put Mike Clevinger on waivers, which I didn't really understand, but I also did see something that if somebody doesn't claim him, he just comes back to the White Sox. So maybe they just put him on there to make and see maybe if somebody wanted him to go to a playoff team. But I don't know if anybody's going to want him with everything that happened and everything like that with, all the drama that happened during spring training. But Mike Clevinger's been one of the best pitchers on the Chicago White Sox. And honestly, with the White Sox going into next year, most likely with the Dylan Cease and Michael Kopech 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation, I don't think having a Michael Kopech would be that bad. And we had Elijah on last week talking to us a little bit about the guys that we could possibly see next year and the guys that could be in the rotation. I don't know about you guys, but I was getting excited inside because that's just awesome. So Elijah, if you're in the chat, thank you, bro, again for coming and hanging out. I do appreciate it so much. But we also saw Lucas Giolito. Lucas Giolito has just not done very good since he went to the Angels. He's given up multiple home run games. He's in ERA over 5. He's 7-9. He's just not doing exactly what the Angels were hoping for, as the Angels have completely fallen apart and the Angels have completely just not done what they wanted to do after they did all the trade deadline stuff. And they were hoping they can make a playoff push with Shohei Ohtani. But now it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Shohei is going to be gone next year. Who knows where he's going to go? I heard he's going to the North Side possibly. I really hope not, because if I have to listen to those North Siders talk about, we got Shohei Ohtani, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to listen to it, and I will scream on the top of my lungs. So let's hope he doesn't go to the Cubs, because that's not what we want. And I don't see him ever coming to Chicago because the White Sox don't want to spend money on anybody. So, yeah. But Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez also got released. So it looks like the Chicago White Sox won that trade with the Angels because they traded their number 2 and 4 prospect to the White Sox for pretty much a month of Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez. So I feel like the White Sox win that trade no matter what. But I do hope that Lucas and Ronaldo do find Lopi, whatever you want to call them. I do hope they do find a good home because they are good players. And I made a comment, what if the Sox bring Giolito back? And I would just laugh. That would be so funny. That would be hysterical. And I would just laugh so hard. So that is what happened with that. And then there was something else that came out. And I just need to laugh about this one because I'm literally laughing. That's why it's so funny. Because apparently me and Leo and Solo, Mr. Lamar, were talking about it on Tuesday night. Tuesday night. And apparently the person that snuck the thing that obviously, into the field, she apparently hid it under her belly fat. I want to know how that is even possible. And how do you not catch that? Because if so you're telling me I could just hide that in my belly fat? You're telling me that I just need to get some more rolls and that I can start hiding stuff and sneaking it into games? I'm not going to do that. But what are we going to have to do now when we go through the scanners? We're going to have to take off our shirt because people got to check the rolls or whatever. I mean, come on now. What's going to go on? And it is absolutely crazy if that is absolutely the fact. And it is just mind-boggling that anybody would even want to do that to a baseball game and would want to, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I thought that was funny to say. I thought that was funny that really came out, though. I was just like, how does that even possible? And how does that even happen? So that was a little chuckle I thought I'd throw in there for you guys. But after Tuesday and after they went to bed and they had a good something or another, Wednesday happened and the game started at 12:05. Well, that was fun because you got to love noon games and can't get anything done. So, yeah. But Wednesday, guys, the White Sox, I was working for a little bit. I was trying to work. It wasn't doing very good. So I was like, I'm going to come home at 12:30, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And the White Sox were down 3-0. And I'm like, here we go again. And, it is what it is. But they were down 4-0. And I'm like, I'm going to get ready. I'm going to figure out what we're doing for Dynamite, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then White Sox hit two 2-run home runs. And it's a 4-4 ball game. I'm like, okay, now. I'm like, hey. And yes, I am still that fan that watches every game, that sits here and suffers pain every day, because that's just me. That's what I'll do every day until the season's over. Football begins next week, but that ain't going to stop me. I'll still watch the White Sox. So they go and they tie the ball game. And then Luis Robert comes up, because Luis Robert is the best player in the game, and you can't tell anybody else otherwise. He comes out and he hits a home run to left, or I think it was right center. I think it was right center, because he didn't hit it off the wall. And if they would have not moved the fences all the way back, he would have had 2 more home runs in where the field used to be, the left field. You remember, it was like all the way up here. So he would have had 2 extra home runs. But Luis Robert hit a home run, and then it was 7-4, and then it was 10-4, and then it was 10-5. And the White Sox went out. Dylan Cease gave up 4 runs, but he went out. He came back. He pitched a bunch of innings. He kept the bullpen alive. And we had Sleepy Santos come in, and he put their offense to bed. And again, the wins don't matter at this point, but it's still fun to win. And I heard Ozzy say it on the post-game show. It's good just for the mental to have a few wins and just, yes, the White Sox aren't going nowhere. White Sox are probably going to lose 90 games. It's not going to be a good rest of the year. But when they win, I just try to enjoy it. And my best hope is that they don't lose 100 games. Yes, that's where I've become. I hope they don't lose 100 games. I hope all of you are making fun of me in the comments. And that's okay, because I'll be in there in the comments making fun of myself also. So White Sox went out and they did their thing on Wednesday, and they beat the snot out of the Baltimore Orioles. Not really. It was getaway day. The Orioles already won the first 2 games. They scored 18 runs in the first 2 games, and they were probably a little tired. But hey, I'll take a win when we can get it. So that is what happens on that. And then after and everything like that, and as of this recording, it is not official yet, but it is apparently, we were talking about it a little bit last week, it is apparently becoming official that Chris Getz will be the next general manager of the Chicago White Sox. And if you guys know, Chris Getz was a former player. He was on the Kansas City Royals. He's been the White Sox minor league guy. He's looked over the minor leagues for all these years. We talked a lot about it last week. And Deech, as I said, if you're watching, bro, let me know anything else that maybe I missed or how you're feeling about all of this. So, yeah. And, my opinion on it is kind of what I said last week. And it's just one of those things that I just feel like the White Sox not going out and getting somebody from out of Chicago, out of the organization. I feel like going on and getting somebody that come in and have a fresh set of eyes, that doesn't care about who's on the team, that doesn't, that wants to win, and that's going to get rid of guys if they're not doing their job. Because Frank said it on a couple post-game shows ago. I think it was either Monday or Tuesday when they got their butts kicked, that they just don't look. These guys got to go out there and they got to fight for their job. Yes, they aren't going nowhere and everything like that, but you got to prove you want to put on the pinstripes. You want to put on the black and white and gray and whatever color, if we're wearing the SouthSide uniforms, you want to put that on and you want to represent this city and you want to go out there and prove that why you want to bring a championship to the Chicago White Sox, the SouthSide, and why we don't want to see those Northsiders win anymore. So, I just think that that's what they should have done. And nothing against Chris Getz. I loved Chris Getz when he was a player. He wasn't very, he was he wasn't like the best. He wasn't like the next superstar. He wasn't, whatever. And yes, he was on the Royals. And yes, he has some type of something or other with Pedro. And the biggest thing I feel about this is I feel like I'm going to have to go get a Chicago Royals hat, because we're turning into the Chicago Royals. I'm going to have to change this logo, because that's what we're becoming, is the Chicago Royals, because they're going to promote Chris Getz. Pedro's still going to be there. We're probably going to have Salvador Perez on our team next year, which I really do not want. But again, what do I know? That's why I can't get upset anymore, guys, because what is the point of getting mad and getting upset if they're not going to listen and they're not going to worry about what we have to say or anything else like that? So Chris Getz, if he is promoted after and while this is premiering, we will talk about it in the comments and everything else like that. So hopefully you guys are all still here watching after 20 minutes and everything like that. But as of this recording, he has not been promoted yet. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but it probably will be. And we'll just have to wait and we'll have to see what happens. But again, I can't change it. So what am I going to do? I can't get upset because why am I going to have my day ruined when they are going to and they aren't going to listen to me or worry about what, they don't care what we got to say. They really don't. Remember, we're the cesspool. That's what we are. We're the cesspool of Twitter and the White Sox community. So Chris Getz, again, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And obviously, I don't see a lot of changes going down until the end of the year. But it should be very interesting to see what happens. And Deech has been putting a lot of votes on there. So I will ask you guys this question. If you have one guy out of the core of the White Sox, if you know who the core of the White Sox is, who is the one guy you do not see being on this team? And I was actually going to ask Deech and Elijah this last week. And if I'm going to say one guy that I do not believe that will be on this team is Yoan Moncada. I've been a big Yoan Moncada fan. I have Yoan jersey. I have a couple of his bobbleheads. I have, whatever. But the way I don't know, just the way he goes out there, his defense is great and he has really good games and he has really bad games. Or Wednesday, he took the day off because he needs a back massage. And I understand the back issues. I can't imagine the pain that this man is in. But then he shouldn't be playing baseball. So Moncada, bro, I love you, but I think it's time to move on. I think it's time to ship you somewhere else. So that is who I think the White Sox would be better off without. You let me know in the comments, though, and let me know who you guys think will be the one core player from the Chicago White Sox that will not be on this team next year. And let's come back to this episode next year, and let's see if any of us got it right. So now that we talked about the general manager and everything like that, and usually at this time, I usually ask Deech and Justin and all of them how they're feeling and everything like that, and we talk a little bit about their stuff and everything like that, but obviously it's just myself. So this episode is going to be a little shorter, and we're going to get right into now, guys. We're going to get right into the preview of the next upcoming two series. So the White Sox go out and they face the Detroit Tigers, and then they face the Kansas City Royals. So in this 3-game series with the Tigers, they are going to face Eduardo Rodriguez, taking on Touki Toussaint. I love Touki, bro. I don't know. I love Touki. I've kind of grown. So Tuki's kind of grown on me. And then on Saturday, Saturday, we have Alex Fado taking on Mike Clevinger. So he is still on the White Sox. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere. So if Mike Clevinger is still on the Sox on Saturday, I'm assuming he's pitching. And then on Sunday, we got Reese Olson taking on Michael Kopech. Look at these pitching stats, guys. These pitching stats are lit, bro. Listen to them. Before I take it, I'm going to take a sip of water to make these suspense a little bit more delightful. So hold on. We're going to take a sip. Suspenseful. These pitching matchups are lit, guys. Reese Olson is he's 2-6 with a 5.10 ERA. And then we got Mr. Michael Kopech that is going to probably be our second pitcher next year at 5-12 with a 5.08 ERA. And I already know that this is going to be the game the White Sox lose. And Reese Olson is going to go out there and pitch 7 shutout innings. He's going to give up 2 or 3 hits, not runs, 2 or 3 hits. And the White Sox are going to lose 2-0 or 3-0 or some BS. So with this series, again, the series really don't matter again at this point because it's not like the White Sox are playing for the playoffs. But I will say this. As soon as the faster we get done with this series, guys, we'll be ready. And there will be no more Sundays without football because this is the last Sunday without NFL Sunday football every single week. So that's something to look forward to. But I will say the White Sox take 2 out of 3 against the Tigers. At least I'm hoping they do because I just like to beat up the Tigers. It's a good time. Let's just hope Miguel Cabrera and Tim Anderson don't start fighting because look at those punches that Miguel was going to give Jose. I was kind of worried. So, yeah. But after that, they go and face the 41-93 Royals. So that's going to be fun. But the 43-90 whatever Royals We'll be having Cole Reagans on the mound, taking on Jesse Schultens. It's Jesse Schultens Day, everybody. And then on Tuesday, we have nobody. Wednesday, we probably have nobody. Oh no, Wednesday we got Tukey Tucson again, taking on Jordan Lyles. And Jordan Lyles is 3-15 with a 6.51 ERA. And just remember this quote right here, guys. This guy is going to give up 3 hits, 5 at most, and maybe 2 runs. Because the White Sox, don't matter how good or bad you are, if you have an ERA over 6 and you don't have 5 wins, the White Sox are going to make sure you lower that ERA and you get yourself a W. So again, the White Sox are probably, and hopefully, and I don't know if this is a 4-game series. Let's see. It is not a 4-game series. So they will be off again next Thursday as they are this Thursday. So we'll be doing pretty much the same thing we're doing here next week, except we'll have Deech and Justin back on the show. Hopefully. Hopefully they don't have a week off and they don't want to come back. Guys, please come back. Don't leave me here alone the rest of the year. Please. Anyway. The White Sox taking 2 out of 3 against the Tigers, at least hopefully, because again, I just want to see them win some games. I know it doesn't matter, and yes, I know it messes up the draft order, blah, blah, blah. Everybody wants to tankathon, and everybody wants to suck, and yada, yada, yada. But I don't want that. So let's just hope they win 2 out of 3. And let's hope we get to come here next week and we get to talk about a little W's and we get to have ourselves a good time. So that is all the previewing and recapping that I got here for you guys. And, honestly, I feel like there's really not too much because I would really like to wait for Deech and Justin's opinion. So we're going to have a good episode next week because we're going to have a week off, at least with the 3 of us. We're going to have some questions for them. Hopefully they got some questions for you. So episode number 25, guys, is going to be one that you're not going to want to miss because it's going to be an absolute banger. But before we go here, before I do all the other things and all the other stuff that we got to do here, let's do the last thing that we always do here on the Southside Boys, guys. And let's go over and let's have some bold predictions and let's have ourselves some guarantees of the week for this week of episode number 24 of the Southside Boys. And now that I'm alone, I don't have to let Deech go first. I don't have to let Justin go first. I can go first, and I got all the pickings in the world. So I could say this guy's going to have that. I could say this guy. And hey, if I say it and it happens, I'm all about it. So my bold prediction, and it's probably not going to happen, but I will say that we have somebody hit a home run in all 6 games coming and starting on Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The Sox are going to have 6 straight games or 7 straight games, counting to yesterday's game. 7 straight days of home runs, and the White Sox will win 5 out of 6 against the Royals and the Tigers. I'll say 5 out of 6. I don't think they'll sweep them, but I say 5 out of 6. I think it's doable. And as I said it was going to happen before, guys. Before the end of the year, before the season ends, the White Sox are going to win like 5 or 6 or 7 in a row. And it's not going to matter, but it's just going to make their record look a little better. So, yeah. But that's what I'm going to say with my bold prediction. And my guarantee is and I don't know if this is just like, it is what it is and everything like that. But I will guarantee you guys, we got to get one right. I guarantee you Luis Robert will hit a home run in the next week. I feel like that's too easy. I can't do that. I got to come up with a better one because that's way too easy. That he's going to hit one on Friday in the first pitch. Watch. First pitch, first at bat, a bomb. Bye-bye in Detroit or in Chicago, wherever they're at. Yeah, to Chicago because I think Detroit. I think Deech is going to Sunday's game. He might be going to more. I don't know. The guy's got like 12 more games to go to. So I'm going to pick a different guarantee. And I'm going to say that Lennon Sosa will hit 2 more home runs in the next week. Lennon Sosa, guys, since he's been called up, he's been doing good. He had the couple home runs against the Athletics. I think he's been playing decent defense. He had a home run against the Orioles. He had a couple good at bats. He didn't do very good on Wednesday, but the White Sox still scored 10 runs. So, yeah, I think Lennon Sosa is going to continue his streak of 2 home runs in a week. And me and Elijah are going to go back and forth and we're going to be like, no, you said it. No, you said it. I'm going to be, and then I'm going to point at him and it's going to be the Spider-Man meme. So that's what I got for my bold predictions, my guarantees. So, guys, as I said, this episode isn't going to be too long today because, as I said, Deech and Justin aren't here. We will be going live. Like I said, we'll be back here live next week for the Southside Boys episode number 25. I want to save a lot more stuff that I want to talk about with them and see how they feel. So if the Chris Getz information is official by the time this goes live, we will be talking about it in the comments, and then we'll be talking about it next week and everything like that. And if DJ has anything to say, maybe I'll make a short of what DJ has to say or something like that. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. So, guys, I want to thank you all for coming here, hanging out with your boy Tino as we talked a little bit of baseball for this half an hour. It's going to be a half an hour episode today, not too long. So hopefully you guys all listen to it. It was a good one. I think it was pretty good for your boy Tino being by himself. I mean, honestly, if Deech didn't decide to join me, and if we didn't find Justin, honestly, the episodes probably would have been a half an hour each week. But I'm happy Deech and Justin come on the show every week, and I want to say thank you to them all the time, making time, coming here, hanging out with us on Tino's time, and spending time, because I know we all talk about wrestling and everything, and they don't have any idea what's going on in the wrestling world. So I do appreciate Justin and Deech coming on here and dealing with all of our shenanigans. So, guys, we'll be back here live tomorrow on Tino's time at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time as we do the WWE Payback preview show. We're going to preview all the matches that are going to go down on Saturday night. We're going to do them all WWE 2K23 style, as we did for All Out and All In this week and last week. So make sure you guys come and join me live. We'll be talking about my fantasy football team. We'll be talking about the White Sox. We'll be talking about Payback. We got All Out. We got a bunch of stuff going on, guys. This week don't stop, and the madness is just beginning, because next week, guys, at this time, we'll be having a double header on Thursday, as we will be watching Thursday Night Football for the first time, as it's the Lions and Chiefs. I know my man Jadis is excited about that. So, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon and your Thursday night. And I will see you guys all live back here on Tino's time tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning for the WWE Payback Preview Show. Remember to go follow all the social medias. Remember to become a member. Leave a super chat or two, all that good stuff. And if you can't do any of that, I understand. But make sure you do go follow all the social medias. Go hit that like button. Go subscribe on the road to 2K. And finally, guys, hit that notification so you know when new episodes, shorts, Southside Boys episodes, preview shows, and everything else goes live. So, guys, as I said, have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning, live for the WWE 2K23 Payback Preview Show.